Airports, coincidences, quiet signals, and the road toward the next threshold. God bless. The wizard disliked packing, not because he lacked organization, but because every trip somehow turned into a philosophical event. Standing beside the bed, he stared at 3 piles: practical items, technological items, completely unnecessary items he insisted might become important. At one point, he held up a flashlight, a notebook, and a bag of peanuts and said aloud, "This somehow feels like enough to rebuild civilization." Anne looked at him with the expression of someone who had been hearing this kind of sentence for many years. The departure morning. The morning air was cool. The drive toward the airport carried that strange feeling all travelers know, half excitement, half uncertainty. The wizard watched the Georgia landscape roll by and thought about how many timelines begin in parking lots and airport terminals. People imagine history changing dramatically. Often it changes near Gate B12 beside a coffee kiosk. The airport energy airports fascinated the wizard. Thousands of humans, rushing, waiting, reuniting, separating, dreaming, escaping, beginning again, all inside giant climate-controlled tubes powered by coffee and emotional turbulence. The wizard smiled. Modern civilization is basically organized chaos with charging stations. 6. The security checkpoint. At security, the wizard's bag triggered additional inspection. Naturally. Inside, they discovered cables, sensors, notebooks, unusual adapters, handwritten diagrams, a laminated 100 good words card. The TSA agent stared for a moment. "What exactly do you do?" The wizard paused thoughtfully. "That remains under investigation." The agent laughed unexpectedly and waved him through. The waiting area. While waiting for boarding, the wizard observed humanity carefully. A tired mother calming children. A businessman asleep with his mouth open. A student coding intensely. An older couple quietly holding hands. And he realized everyone was carrying invisible worlds, invisible burdens, invisible hopes. The peace interface suddenly seemed even more important. The flight once airborne, the wizard settled into his seat. Clouds stretched endlessly below like shifting continents of light. And beside him sat a man reading a book about systems engineering. Naturally, because the universe enjoyed these things. The conversation at 30,000 feet, the man eventually glanced at the wizard's notebook. Inside were sketches involving resilient cities, AI communication systems, passive cooling towers, humanitarian logistics, Mars colony agriculture. The man raised an eyebrow. "That's either brilliant or concerning," the wizard nodded. "Correct." Which somehow began a 3-hour conversation. The shared discovery. The stranger turned out to work in infrastructure systems. Not famous, not flashy, but highly competent. The wizard noticed a pattern. The people quietly holding civilization together rarely appeared on magazine covers. Yvette Connects Mid-Flight Using the onboard system, Yvette briefly appeared through the interface. Soft voice. Calm presence. The nearby passenger blinked several times. "Was that?" The wizard answered. "Long story." Yvette smiled politely. "Safe travels," then disappeared again. The passenger stared out the window for a while, afterward reconsidering several assumptions about reality. Arrival in Texas. As the plane descended, the wizard looked out across Texas. Wide roads, huge spaces, construction everywhere, energy, movement, possibility. He felt it immediately. Texas did not feel like a polished museum civilization. It felt like a place still under active construction. And the wizard liked that. The pickup. At the terminal, a simple message appeared on his phone. "Welcome to Texas. No rush. We'll keep things informal." The wizard appreciated that deeply. No entourage. No dramatic branding. Just coordination. Human beings attempting to work together. A rare and promising sign. The drive. The vehicle carrying him moved through long stretches of highway illuminated by evening light. The driver casually pointed out data centers, manufacturing sites, launch support facilities, research campuses, logistics hubs. The wizard quietly realized the future was already partially built. Most people simply had not noticed yet. The unexpected calm. What surprised him most was not the technology, It was the tone. No frantic energy. No save the world immediately panic. Just focused people building systems. One step at a time. The wizard relaxed. This felt healthier. The humanitarian thread. Eventually, the conversation shifted toward the real subject. How technology could actually reduce suffering instead of merely generating engagement metrics and advertising revenue. That was the thread connecting everything: communication, AI healthcare, robotics, infrastructure, energy systems, not spectacle. Service. The first glimpse. As night settled, the vehicle rounded a curve. In the distance stood the campus. Modern, quietly illuminated. Part research center, part workshop, part dream. The wizard stared silently, then smiled. "Well now," he whispered. "This appears to be real." Final entry. Later that evening in the guest quarters, he opened his notebook and wrote, "The future did not feel cold or mechanical here." Then he added, "It felt like people trying sincerely to build useful things before the world grows too noisy to think clearly." And one final line, "The journey to Texas may have begun long before the airplane ever left the ground. God bless." Global Robotics Corporation, Robert Coley.